Most people think SBA loans cap out at about $5 million, and that means big acquisitions, hotel projects, or large multi-unit franchise expansions are off the table. But that's only half true. Today, Beau Eckstein is breaking down a financing structure that elite SBA brokers and banks use to stack capital and fund massive deals without stretching collateral or hitting loan limits. Hey, Beau, how's it going?
Doing well, Bill.
Hey, so what exactly is an SBA Pari Passu structure, and how does it differ from a standard SBA 7A or 504 loan?
Well, pari passu basically means on equal footing. So what that means is you have an SBA loan and you have a conventional loan, and they're both in senior position. And this could be a loan for CRE or commercial real estate, or it could be a business acquisition with no collateral. The reason that's really I think it's a Latin term for what pari passu is basically.
Okay, so why do lenders use this for larger deals? What makes it work for transactions over $5 million?
Well, we're starting to see a lot larger transactions, a lot larger business transactions. And if there's no real estate, you're not going to be able to do a SBA 504 loan. So you're really stuck, right? And so that $6 million to $12 million range, there's not a lot of financing options. So banks, when there's strong cash flow, will look at these pari passu deals. Only some of them actually fund these types of deals, and we know how to navigate to those particular banks.
So could you walk us through a real world example, maybe a seven or maybe even a $10 million deal? How would the capital stack look?
Sure. So we just had one. We did an episode on it, but I'll recap that deal. A gentleman was buying a $10 million business with no collateral. It was, there's some inventory and some equipment, but barely no collateral. So it's a complete, what we call a complete airball deal. So the borrower was looking for max loan proceeds, and he had taken it to like some of the major players in the space, large SBA banks, couldn't quite get the proceeds. So he happened to get introduced to me through a mastermind group we're in. And so the way we structured it was, luckily he didn't have any SBA financing, so we were able to go up to $5 million on an SBA 7A loan. And then we did a $2.2 million conventional. So those were both in first position. The same bank funded both those transactions. We also built in close to $800,000 in working capital. The seller financed $2 million. And then on a $10 million acquisition, you got to bring in 10% of the total project cost. So you had to bring in $1 million. Well, he brought in $300,000. He brought a partner in that owned less than 19%, who brought in $700,000. That made up the $1 million. So we were able to fund that deal. So basically, if you really look, he's the only guarantor. He brought in $300,000, and when we closed, he got close to $800,000 in working capital. So it was a pretty sweet deal. Plus, the business is doing well over $50 million a year in top line revenue.
Wow. So, what are the biggest benefits for borrowers, and what are the common pitfalls or misconceptions you see?
Well, the benefits, you can close bigger transactions, right? Like he might not have been able to raise, the seller might not have done any larger seller carryback. So 2 million was probably, hey, that's the most I'm going to do on this deal. So you would have had a $2 million shortfall. And so unless he would have brought in more investors, which would have diluted his ownership even more, he might have to give up 10 or 15 or 19% for that $700,000. So if he was going to raise more from investor partners, he would be giving up more equity. So if you want to keep the ownership as high as possible, you don't want to bring in more investors. Generally, a rule of thumb, you want to own it and you want to get good debt, and that's what the SBA Pari Passu is able to do. So that's really the benefit of the SBA Pari Passu deals, is that you can get these bigger deals done.
So that sounds all great. That all sounds great, but how can brokers or borrowers actually find lenders who are open to doing these types of structures?
Well, there's only a handful of banks and non-bank SBA lenders that will do non-collateral type of business acquisitions. Now, there's more banks out there they'll do pari passu, but only when there's real estate in the deal. So if you work with a good broker, they usually have a network of these lenders that they know will get the job done doing these pari passu. But really, there's about five or six lenders that we work with in the pari passu space right now. There may be some more coming on, but generally we know who will do what. And then when you look at deals that have no collateral like this deal, it narrows it down to probably 2 or 3 lenders that will actually look at a deal of this size. Eventually, they're going to raise the SBA loan limits, I believe. So they're already working on it in the manufacturing world. So eventually, we'll be doing a lot bigger pari passu, but we'll be able to do $10 million SBA 7A loans. So we're not going to have, it'll open up the playing field a little bit more across the board. But for right now, you got to be strategic on how you're getting these structured. And so I would suggest you work with a competent bank, or better yet, work with a broker who has these relationships like our team. There's other great brokers out there as well. But find somebody you feel like you can get the deal done with. And what I find, it's better to work with a broker, and not just telling you this because I am a broker, but we can have multiple conversations without submitting a file. Because what happens is, a lot of times is the direct borrower will go to a bank and they'll spend months doing it, and then all of a sudden the seller's getting pissed off because the bank can't do it. We're going to have 2 or 3 banks that are in play at all times when we work on from the broker end. So I would say, make your calls, find somebody you feel comfortable working with, and if they know what they're doing, they're going to get you a term sheet pretty quickly.
Right. That's all great information. If you're structuring a deal over $5 million and want to see if SBA Pari Passu financing is possible, Beau's team specializes in exactly this. Visit SBAPariPassu.com. That's SBAPariPassu.com to connect with the right lender and strategy. Thanks, Beau.
Thank you.
If you're a solopreneur or small business owner, listen closely. Business growth isn't about working harder. It's about building smarter systems. It's about automation. And that's exactly what Go High Level Hire helps you do. Build your funnel, automate your follow-up, manage your team, all in one place. Click the link below, activate your trial, and see how much more efficient, automated, and profitable your business can be in just 30 days.
Hey guys, Beau Eckstein here. If you enjoyed what you saw, please subscribe to this channel. We talk all things financing. I've been in the lending industry for over 20 years, and I'm happy to answer your questions and provide great content.